sandals. Wasn't planning on coming out here. I was just bringing water out for the deer. But yeah, Laddie and I used to go over there, and then the rope swing was there. And we used to all play on the rope swing, all the neighborhood kids. And Laddie would grab the rope sometimes. And Laddie and I would go in the woods, and Liana and Laddie and I would go that way to Joan's blueberry farm and also pick and eat blackberries. And then that used to be all woods. There used to be no house. There used to be like all woods. So, yeah. This one too, I think I used to sit against. Maybe it was this one. I don't know. It's the path, and then Laddie and I would go down there. And he'd run into the other person's yard. Or we'd walk around here. Yeah, more poison ivy on the tree we would play on and swing from the rope swing on and climb the rope. We used to climb the rope swing too. Oh, there's the rope. How does this rope look like it's attached to the tree? That is so weird. And there used to be water here. Laddie would drink out of it. It would fill with water in the winter and fall. Now it's all dry. And yeah, swing from the rope swing, climb to the top of the rope swing, go that way for berries. Laddie would eat the blackberries and blueberries right off the vine. And we'd go up there, or I would. Laddie had to keep walking around. He couldn't really sit still next to me. He had to keep running and racing around. But yeah, I'd go there and sit against the trees. And then this path, Laddie and I would always take. Laddie would race ahead of me and go into their yard. But yes, Laddie and I would walk out here and he'd sniff, 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 sniff everything and just have a jolly old time being free. No leash. And I think there was like a creek that ran along. Well, there is a ditch, so it fills with water. I just remember it being bigger, but of course I was smaller, so. But yeah, Laddie and I would come out here to the property line, and he would cross it, and I wouldn't. And Laddie would run all over their yard, and then run into that neighborhood. Or run down there, and I couldn't really follow him that well. I tried to, but I was afraid of getting in trouble being on someone else's land, but they probably didn't care. And this was full of a bunch of wildflowers and even like white lilies, buttercups, purple wildflowers, purple and yellow, and those white lilies, but it's all mowed over now. I just wonder if I should film it this way. Go this way this time. Yeah, I'd play out here in the summer with Alyssa or Logan. Liana would play out here with Kendra. Although I think they stayed by the play structure and collected rocks, but that's not here anymore. But I would come out here by myself when Liana was too little. sit against these trees. I think it was actually this tree. It's definitely this one. Yeah, covered in poison ivy, poison oak, awful. Or between them, wow. I mean, it was all clear and there was more space at one time. Or I could actually do that. With my backpack and my journal. And of course we had a zip line that used to go from the deck here, but that was, I think, to that tree, I don't know. I think had moved out at that point though, so I was more for Leon and her friends. I don't even know if I rode it, maybe once. And, ooh, prickly. But yeah, and then of course, that tree, the rope swing hung from. And Laddie and I would just saunter around. There used to be a path that way. Go get the berries and blackberries. And yeah, this used to be all full of buttercups. I mean, you can still see some buttercups right there, but purple flowers, white lilies, especially over there where the play structure was at. Of course, Laddie and I would play over here as well. Something would fill with water and even freeze in the winter. Yeah, I feel like Laddie and I came over here, but it gets really wet in the fall, so like all of this would fill with water, but Laddie and I would follow Laddie. He would want to come out here and sniff stuff, and I'd be like, I don't know. Something would fill with water and freeze. Very swampy and gross in the fall and winter. I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Okay, I gotta get one more shot this way of the woods. Yeah, very pretty when the sun's shining in the summer, like now. Very, very pretty. But very kind of boring, you know. By yourself in the woods, it's not really the best way to grow up. It's not like there were any kids over there I could play with. No one was really my age. Even Logan was younger than me, but we played a lot of Star Wars. That was fun. But we played in his yard mostly, which is now a preschool. And not a woods, much easier to play in. And they had a hammock. But yes, Laddie and I had a great time out here. I think I would follow Laddie along the property line out here. Because he would go into someone's yard over here. I feel like. All the buttercups. Yeah, this would fill with water. And Laddie would be sniffing and hopping around and running over here. Which was crazy. I don't even know if we went this far. I think I was too afraid. I don't know why I was so fearful. Yeah, we gotta come over here. It's so crazy. Unless this is their land, I actually don't know. I actually don't know, because it looks all cleared out and everything. Oh, there's a bunny. There's a bunny. Yeah, this might be their land. Yeah, because they have grass and they can mow it. Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't know if I ever came over here. It's nice. For sure, it's nice. So pretty. Boy, it looks very nice and well taken care of. This is cool too. Oh, it's cool. It's pretty too. Cool too. I'm trying to remember because we used to walk through that part to get to the blueberry farm. It used to be more clear though. Cool. Look how huge these trees are. That's a really cool one. That's a really cool one. That house is ginormous. It looks like a lodge. It's so hot today. It's nice. Maybe this is how people would come when like people would pass through the property and they would just like show up. I don't know. You just see them like walking through our property. It's so random. It's like, okay, hello. Ugh, still wet and swampy. Even on one of the hottest days. Oh yeah, that must have been a big tree. Is that one of those sticky things? Those tall sticky things used to grow. Stick on everything. Oh, I should have been backed up. Zoomed out, I mean. Kids used to be so afraid of this forest, and their parents. They'd come over once and never come over again. They were so freaked out just looking at it from the windows. It's definitely freaky in the fall and winter. Even freaked me out a few times after I read Narnia. I hated that. I'd have to read about the trees being on the witch's side and then go to sleep with my blinds wide open to the dark forest full of trees. It's like, the heck? It's not a normal way to grow up. But I really wasn't that afraid because I came out here a lot. My friends were, though. They didn't want to sleep over. Their parents didn't want to come over. They came over once and they were like, oh, that woods. They didn't want their kids coming over. It's like, wow. So, yeah, lost a lot of friends when we moved here. Very isolating. Do not recommend. Way too isolating. Unless you have a big family of a lot of kids and all your kids get along and play together. But I did not have that. I played by myself most of the time out here. I had friends over a handful of times, probably. Like I said, when I did have a neighbor friend, Logan, he was younger than me, and we played across the street most of the time. Rarely came over here. Because who wants to get poison ivy and poison oak? It's like stupid. This is definitely for like old people retiring that just want a view and, you know, look at it, I guess, and pay for the upkeep of it. You can't build on it. It's all swamp. It'd be cool to put a tree house out here, like an adult tree house. I mean, the play structure was here and the kids played here for a while, but man, that thing was dirty and old. I think I was too old by the time it was set up. I wasn't really play structure age. Laddie and I came out here. Liana dug through all the rocks with her friends. But yeah. And then Laddie sat at the top of that hill and loved to stare out. Yeah, I mean, if you had a bunch of kids or you had like a camp, I don't know, you had a bunch of kids in a tree house. Yeah, it's just very isolating. I didn't really like it. I have memories with Laddie walking around, but I have memories jogging with him in the neighborhood. So, I mean, you don't really need a woods to have memories with your dog. I just remember him running away all the time and chasing after coyotes, and we didn't know if he was gonna make it through the night, you know? Because never put up a fence. Neighbors would get annoyed probably different times. But they didn't know who he belonged to because he just ran free. The house is not really that big, is it? And talk about a red deck. I've never seen that color staining. Actually, I did finally see it in the neighborhood, but boy, cherry red. Even that green is unique. I think they had it mixed uniquely for the house. And then I did play on the rocks a lot over here, and this thing would fill with water in the fall and winter, of course. And there was going to be Dad's plan was to do, you know, like a fountain and have a waterfall and water pouring over the rocks, but he did not do that. So yeah, we just kind of walked all over the rocks. Sat on top of them. Sometimes I did my homeschool books. Well, there was boulders in the other over there, but they were moved. Hey, you get on this one. Oh my gosh, I'm so old now. I don't know if I can do it. Wow. That's crazy because just a few years ago. Ugh. There. Walk over all the rocks. There's like a picture of me up here. And then this used to be a really big log before it decomposed, but it was definitely beautiful when it was covered in snow. One year we had a few years, but definitely one year I remember, such a thick, fluffy blanket of snow, and it's very pretty. I remember at Christmas time. walking along here and looking at the snow. It's very pretty. So, I mean, I guess it's good for calming your emotions if you live in a volatile home. I would have rather had a bunch of brothers and sisters though to play with and be in Southern California where the weather was actually nice. But yeah, Laddie would sit here and he was the king of the property. And if I sat next to him, he moved ahead of me because he wanted to protect me, I guess, but I didn't know that then. I learned that later. I thought he just didn't want to sit next to me. He was being a little brat. He did like his space, but he tolerated me if I couldn't sleep and I would come downstairs, rest my head on him, and he tolerated that. But yeah, he used to have a crate outside. I felt so bad for him under the big cedar tree to sleep when he was just a puppy, and eventually my parents let him sleep inside and eventually come upstairs years later at the end of his life. Last years of his life, I think. This is, I don't think we grew up with this, but it does look old. But yeah, there used to be a big boulder in the middle there. I remember sitting and doing my homework there or my homeschool books there, and then seeing like a snake in the grass. It freaked me out and I ran home. Even though I was on the rock, I was safe. But it was just like bouncing in the grass practically. Oh, those crows. Those crows are so loud and obnoxious. But yeah, there used to be a big cedar tree right here where the very expensive sheds are. I think one of them was $25,000 to build, so just to store your stuff. And because you know the garage is full also of my stuff, but yeah, used to be a giant cedar tree, and then yeah, it was ginormous. Laddie had his crate. I don't know if it's over here or not. Under the cedar tree when we first brought him home. Dad built him a giant wooden crate. It probably scared him. Poor puppy was probably scared. Yeah, I don't know where that's at. And all that used to be woods. Didn't used to be houses back there, or, well, yeah, there used, you know, same thing. Didn't used to be a fence, though. It did not used to be a fence, and I'd play over there a ton. Star Wars with Logan. But yeah, this used to have a giant cedar tree here. He slept underneath. I think we even set up a slip and slide here in the summer, but like down there it got so wet and all the neighbor kids came over. And then the kids would sled down the hill when it snowed. Yeah, this lawn is a lot to mow. Insanely a lot of work. Huge lawn. Yeah, that boulder used to be taller. They put it on its side or moved it, or I don't know. So weird. Like there used to be more boulders. There used to be fir trees over there because there were like baby fir trees when we first moved in. Little tiny, super teeny, all over here. And they grew up pretty big, and then I guess my dad moved them or they died. I don't know. There used to be more trees for sure.